Hi everybody, welcome to the Gagnon Atelier. I'm your old pal Tim Gagnon, and today I'm really excited because we're going to be talking about part one of our three-part video series on how to photograph your artwork. This is a big subject that a lot of artists kind of freak out about, and the bottom line is you want to make sure that if you're reproducing your artwork, that the picture does the painting justice. And so how do you do that? Well, you got to shoot it right. You got to get the right equipment. You got to set it up the right way. And it can be a little daunting, but it's really not that hard. In episode one, we're going to be talking about how to set all of this up and line everything up. In episode two, we're going to be interviewing my good friend Bonnie, who is a professional photographer. She's going to be talking to us about how to, all the ins and outs and intricacies of the actual camera mechanics. And in episode three, we're going to wrap it all up and we're going to bring the original photo into Photoshop and do some editing. So it's really exciting. I'm really pumped. I hope you are too. So let's get started. One of the key things that is super important to photographing your artwork is step one, making sure that the painting is perfectly level. Not just level this way, but level this way and also level this way. So we need to make sure that the painting is hanging absolutely perfectly level. You see that I've put a black drop cloth around it. That's going to do a couple things. It's going to absorb the light, so there's no, we're trying to reduce the sheen as best we can. But there's a black drop cloth around so that this gets lit up and nothing else is a distraction. We also have it no frame, and so that's going to allow us to get the camera to crop it as best we can. But it is vitally important before we do anything with the camera that we get this absolutely level. So obviously you see I have a level, I have a piece of foam, and I have a sheetrock knife. Now watch what I'm going to do. First thing I'm going to do is we're going to take this and we're going to put the level right there, and we're going to make sure that this is level. And we're going to align that so that that is level. Now once that's level, I'm going to make sure that it's level on this side, and it is, and that it's level on this side, and it is. Obviously, if it's square, if the corners are 90 degrees, if this is level, this and this should also be level. But you know, sometimes you never know with these things that are framed. But more important than just that, we want to make sure that it's level this way. And it is way off. It needs to come out quite a bit on the bottom. So what we need to do is we need to pull it out this way a little bit. That's what the foam is for. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a piece of foam. Doesn't have to be a very big piece of foam. Just cut a little piece of foam, just like that. That's all I need. And I'm going to put this down just for a second. Put that in my pockets. As my wife says in her pockets is. She watches a lot of Hobbit. All right, here we go. So I'm going to measure again this way. And I'm going to kind of gauge how far out I have to go. And it's about the width of my finger. So let's check if the width of my finger is, yep, look at that, bam-o. It is exactly the thickness of this foam. All this is that blue foam installation that you put in your walls. So all I have to do is stick it in like that. Now you could tape it there if it's not going to hold, but just gravity should hold it in place. So now if I measure it again, boom, it's perfectly level this way. So now we're just going to redo this, because obviously moving it around like that shook it up a little bit. Perfectly level there. perfectly level there. And I bumped it, so let me try again. Level. 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 Okay, so our painting is now level this way, and this way. It is perfectly level. The next step that we have to do is we have to make sure that the camera is also perfectly level. And so when we set up our camera and you've got your tripod, one of the things that you'll notice, if you get any decent tripod, there'll be levels. There'll be a level here for the legs to make sure that this is level. And there'll be a red circle inside of it. And that red circle will let you know if the bubble in there is in the center of that, you're level. Then the next thing you need to do is you need to make sure that there should be, a lot of times there's a level right here on the top. And depending on how you have your camera set up, like that, you can check the level and see if it's level. Obviously, because this painting is vertical or portrait mode, not landscape mode, I have to turn my camera like this and then check it and make sure that this is level. Now, how you make sure this is level, there's a couple ways you can do it. You can turn it like this. You just make your adjustment and you turn it, and then once you get it level, yes, sticking my tongue out helps. There we go. Then you just tighten it up. Boom. So now, there we go. So I've tightened this up. So now the camera itself, the angle that it's shooting at is going to be level to the wobbliness of this, and the camera lens should be a perfect letter T, like a capital letter T. Boom. So coming out to here, this way, and then this way. You should have a perfect angle, 90 degrees, from the angle that this shoots at to the up and down of this. Knowing that this is level here, and this is level this way, should give us an accurate thing. So again, make sure this is level, make sure the tripod itself is level, and make sure that the camera is shooting level. All right, so there we go. So now, once we've got this all set up, it's time to make sure that it is also exactly the right height so that the camera lens, the dead center of that camera lens, lands in the dead center of this photo. And that's where we have to make some measurements. And my measuring stick is over here. We're going to come over here. All right. So what we need to do is we need to figure out what's the center of this painting. Now, this painting is, I believe it's 16 by 20. Nope, it is 18 by 24. So we got to do the math and we got to figure out. So 9 inches here, and I'm looking, and that lands right there, right about there. And I know that the center of this painting is going to be 12 inches. And so right there is the dead center of that painting. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure from the ground to that point. And we are going to see that it is 56 inches from the ground. 56 inches from the ground. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that this is also 56 inches off the ground. And I already did it, folks. But the center of the camera is 56 inches off the ground. So what we do next is put that right there in my pockets. The next thing we need to do is we need to line this up so that it is exactly lined up on the center line. So we'll turn the camera on. And we're going to zoom out. So I need to back up a little bit. You want to back up so that you can see the entire picture. That's obviously important. We don't want to see any edges. Okay? And then we will make some adjustments. To make sure that the camera is lining the picture up perfectly in a way that's going to give us maximum. There we go. I don't know why I said giving us maximum, because that's not what I'm trying to do. I want to make sure that it's square. I have my grid set up on my camera. And so with that grid, it's helping me to make sure that I've got my adjustments as level as possible, but also making sure that everything is perfect with this. I can see the square. So right now when I'm looking at this, I'm noticing that the bottom is wider and I need to do this. Well, the reason it's doing that is because the camera's actually not level. It's a little tilted down. So I need to kind of raise this up a little bit higher. And then turn it down. Yeah, there we go. Bingo. Okay. And so now the way I've got this thing lined up, I'm lined up right on the center of the painting. It's perfectly square in the grid there. You don't want to zoom in. Now you have to zoom in a little bit because a camera's lens is naturally warped. And so if you get too close, you'll warp it. So simply by backing up just a little bit, you can kind of take away the warp. And you'll get a true bit of how it's supposed to look. Then I adjust my settings. And there we go. And so this is the setup. I've got my camera set up. It's at a correct distance where I don't have to zoom in, but it's not warping. And this is level and this is level. So now that's really the first most important part. The second part is we need to set up the lights to make sure that we light the painting perfectly evenly. So that's what we're going to do next. And so in a few minutes, we will make that happen. All right, guys? All right, guys, so see, so far so good. It's really not that difficult to set everything up to photograph your artwork. Remember, the key is making sure that everything is perfectly level. Once you get that accomplished, everything else kind of falls into place. So that's episode 1. Next time we meet in episode 2, we're going to be interviewing my good friend Bonnie, the professional photographer, and she's going to be talking to us about the ins and outs of the actual camera to get the camera to take the best pictures. So stay tuned for that one. That one's coming up. In episode 3, we're going to be bringing the finished photo into Photoshop, where we're going to be doing some digital editing to clean everything up so that it can then be sent out. So I'm really excited for these next 3 videos. If you like this kind of content, please hit the subscribe button on our channel. That lets us know, hey, we're doing the right thing, we're growing. Also, hit the notification button so that you can be notified when episode 2 and 3 of this video series comes out and all of our other videos come out. So if you're watching this on Facebook, hit the like button on the page, like our page, the Gagnon Atelier. Share this video, share the page with your friends. We really appreciate all that you guys can do for us too, because we're having a great time making great content for you guys. So with that said, your old pal Tim loves you. We'll see you next time.